3 races left to go. Sportsman and Open Buggy mains before the Pro Buggy final. Cars hit the track and they're off. And Dan Haeflinger leads him into turn number 1 over Eclipse Nickzat. And see how much the buggies get tossed around through that back section. A lot more than the trucks did, certainly over the Pro class. So see the running order as they come by the line. Eclipse Emmanuel Nickzat lead the way over Woody Garwood from 9th on the grid, fighting us all the way to 2nd. On lap number 1, Christopher Kelly from 6th on the grid in 3rd. Top qualifier Dan Haeflinger with a rough first lap, dropped to 4th, but not nearly as bad as the 3rd qualifier Dante de Granada, who won the Sportsman Truck A main from 3rd on the grid, dropping to 10th on the first lap. And Emmanuel Nickzat went wide there through the fish hook section, allowed Woody Garwood to drive on by for the race lead. Down the straightaway, Dan Haeflinger leading the way by just under 0.6 of a second as he got back around. 6th place driver, actually Christopher Kelly, into the 2nd spot as Emmanuel Nickzat dropping all the way to 7th. So Haeflinger, Kelly Jr., Walker, Talley, and Smith top 5 after 2 laps. Dan Haeflinger across the Savox dance floor to the poker table and down the straightaway. 37.837 for Haeflinger's last lap. 37.2 for Cody Walker in 3rd. The fastest of the top 3 as the top 3 have broken away from everyone else by 8 seconds already. Emmanuel Nickzat working his way back up to the 4th spot. Sportsman Truck winner Dante de Granada rounds out the top 5, and David Talley from 14th on the grid had fought his way up toward the top 3 before slipping back down to 6th. Dan Haeflinger from Southern California in the orange car with the yellow wheels and wing. 38.0 for his last time by. Christopher Kelly 41.5, 41.9 for Cody Walker. And so the lead for Haeflinger grows to 4.8 seconds. Haeflinger weaving through the greedy fingers, up on the pipe, going through the lane change. And off to an easy Sunday cruise early on in this one. 4.8 second lead after just 3 minutes as he works around the Savox dance floor with Cody King camped out there on a chair. Haeflinger working up the live time back patio. Cody Walker running 2nd, Christopher Kelly 3rd. It's like Walker got around Kelly last lap in what's become a battle for 2nd. Oh, and Haeflinger with a mistake after the team-associated stepping stone. And I think this is Cody Walker that's making a run at the leader now, with Christopher Kelly losing a little bit of ground, and Walker with a mistake. And that might be Nickzat who took over the 2nd spot here. We'll have to see when they come by the line. In fact, it is Emmanuel Nickzat taking over the 2 spot, getting his way back into where he qualified. Running 3.6 seconds behind Haeflinger as Haeflinger started to stretch out. A 3.6 second lead and growing. Just as I say that, Haeflinger with a mistake going through the greedy fingers has allowed Nickzat, Kelly Jr., Walker, and De Granada to close up the gap. Top 5 were separated by 7.2 seconds last time by the line. It's going to be less than that now. Here's Haeflinger by the line. Nickzat by the line, 1.6 seconds back. Another 2 seconds back to Kelly Jr. 3 seconds from Kelly Jr. back to Walker. And 1.2 seconds from Walker back to De Granada. I think this is Nickzat with the mistake there in the back section. Going to allow Kelly and Walker to get by. They tangle at the top of the hill. The Sportsman Buggy made a mess here in the first 5 minutes.
5 minutes down, 25 minutes to go in this 30-minute Sportsman Buggy.
That might have been Nope, that's not Haeflinger. Not sure if that. Don't think that was Haeflinger.
5:15 down, 24.
Yeah, that might have been Haeflinger, as it's Christopher Kelly Jr. taking over the lead. Emmanuel Nickzat running second. Dante de Granada third. Cody Walker fourth. David Talley fifth. And a tough break there for top qualifier Dan Haeflinger. Maybe got a rock stuck in the wheel or something coming into pit lane. Maybe. 53-second lap. Drops him all the way from first to sixth. And that opens the door wide open for Christopher Kelly, Emmanuel Nickzat, Dante de Granada. What a story it would be if Dante de Granada can work his way up into a podium finish and perhaps the win here in Sportsman Buggy after winning the Sportsman Truck class. 6 minutes down, 24 minutes left to go. A 5-second lead for Emmanuel Nickzat, who joined me in the booth last night for one of our lower main events and could be getting an interview as the winner of the Sportsman Buggy class if he keeps this up. Five seconds down, 8.1 seconds down. Christopher Kelly from Eclipse Nickzat. .645 down, 23:15 left to go. New personal best laps last time by for Christopher Kelly Jr. and Dante de Granada. And here's the rub. They both lost time to Emmanuel Nickzat. Christopher Kelly Jr. now 6 seconds behind. He lost a full second last time by, and that was his own best lap of the race. So, and Nickzat sort of in control here. Christopher Kelly Jr. was the sixth qualifier. It looks like he just came in for his first pit stop, maybe the 7:15 mark. Yep, 6.3 second stop for Christopher Kelly. Pitting a little bit short of the magic 7.5 minute mark for a 3-stop strategy. Looks like a pipe missing there heading into the banked back right corner. Here comes Maurice Walsh, Jason Tambunting, Rick Christian all into pit lane. There's the race leader, Emmanuel Nickzat, into pit lane. Meep, meep. No. Nickzat flaming out in pit lane. Stopped at the 7:50 mark. And back out a 20.8 second pit stop. He was only 2 seconds up on Dante de Granada. So Sportsman Truck winner de Granada likely taking over the lead here at the 8:30 mark. We'll have to see if Nickzat can regroup and fight his way back up to the front of the pack. De Granada has taken over the top spot. Christopher Kelly moving up to the second position. Cody Walker to third. How far did Nickzat fall with that flame out? All the way to fourth. Now 18.4 seconds out of the lead. So de Granada, Kelly Jr., and a Walker taking over the podium positions at the 9-minute mark. There's de Granada in the green buggy down the LiveRC.com Las Vegas Strip, opting to take it easy over the left side A-Main Canyon Gap. Dante de Granada looks like he's just out there cruising. His last lap of 37.3, and he spread out his lead over Christopher Kelly Jr. by 2 seconds on that last lap. So maybe just cruising is the way to go. Over the hip jump to the poker table and coming in here at the 9:45 mark. Oh, and this is de Granada's first pit stop. So Beans picking the car up, putting it on the blocks, getting in a full tank of fuel, and back out. And Christopher Kelly Jr. in the second spot just came by the line. So De Granada with a huge lead even after the pit stop. Making a mistake there at the top of the live time back patio section. De Granada trying to keep it under control here. And the Sportsman Buggy A main going for the two-stop strategy. And we'll have to see, of course, if he can maintain a big lead like this, if he'll come in for a short pit at the end just to be safe on fuel. De Granada with a 3.3 second advantage after pit stops were done. And he will have one fewer pit stop than Christopher Kelly and literally everyone else. A 37.320 has to close the gap to De Granada. Cody Walker fourth and David Talley running fifth. De Granada's first lap after the pit stop, a 37.0, 37.9 for Christopher Kelly, loses about a full second. So the lead back up to 4.2. And De Granada looking in control early on in this one. Weaving his way through the lane change, over the Team Associated stepping stone, through the fish hook, and now to the cash out double. A couple of slower cars up ahead. Looks like the top 8 remaining on the lead lap. Dante de Granada coming up on Maurice Walsh and Rick Christian. Christian came close to winning, I think it was the 40 over buggy class? 40 over truck class, and ran into some mechanical issues that knocked him out of contention. But De Granada with a 6.5 second lead on Nickzat. Another 1.4 seconds back to Christopher Kelly in third. Another 2 seconds from Kelly back to Walker in fourth. And 16.5 seconds from Walker to Talley in fifth. So nearing the halfway mark and our second round of pit stops. I believe that working through the lane change section, coming up on some slower traffic. Whoa, rolling it over, entering in the fishhook section. Able to get it back on its wheels, but not before allowing Christopher Kelly to close up the gap. One more time by the line. That is E-Clap with Jason Tambunting and Woody Garwood behind him. So actually Nickzat stretching out the gap over Christopher Kelly to 7.5 seconds. Kelly with a rough lap, 42.4, is only less than 2 seconds up on Cody Walker in fourth. So De Granada enjoying a 4.6 second gap on Nickzat, with 90 seconds remaining before the halfway point. Eclipse last lap a 38.4, this time by 36.6. So making up just a couple of tenths on De Granada, out front by 4.2 seconds still. Nickzat coming up on some slower traffic to the AKA double downs, had to hit the brakes and roll his way out of the second double. I think David Talley may have just come in for his second pit stop. And he did. De Granada and Nickzat down the straightaway. Actually separated by just a half a second. De Granada with a mistake last time by. And so the lead now cut significantly. De Granada in the all green buggy. Nickzat in the dark colored something. De Granada over the cash out double across the dance floor. Nickzat looking to the inside, trying to make a race out of this one. Nickzat's car pushing across the dance floor. And De Granada stretching out a 1 second lead. That was De Granada's personal best lap of the race, as he realized he had made a mistake and let the lead close up to nearly, well, actually just over a half second. And putting the hammer down, stretched out 0.6 of a second on that last lap alone. Nickzat trying to stay close. Battle for the lead across the Savox dance floor. Over the hip turn to the poker table and down the LiveRC.com Las Vegas Strip. 36.3 for De Granada, 36.9. Nickzat loses a half a second. It's up to 1.6 seconds. Another 12.4 seconds from Nickzat back to Walker in third. Christopher Kelly Jr. fourth, and David Talley still rounding out the top five. Great run for David Talley from the B main. "16 minutes in, still waiting for De Granada and Nickzat and Walker to make their second pit stops. Here's Eclip in for his second stop with a fuel bottle. That was not quick, but he didn't flame out this time, so an 8.9 second pit stop. And Cody Walker into pit lane for his second time. Cody Walker's second stop, 7.3 seconds. Christopher Kelly Jr.'s second stop, 7 seconds flat. And expecting Dante de Granada. Nope, he stays out one more lap. Oh, that's right, because Granada's going on that two-stop strategy. So he won't pit for another 3 minutes or so. But we'll have to see how that cycles through with lap times. He only went 9:45 on the first stint. And so at some point he's going to have to go longer than 10 or short pit at the end. So we'll see what De Granada's lead is after this lap. De Granada coming by here at 36.6. Before that at 36.1. That was actually De Granada's fastest lap of the race 2 laps ago. And backed it up with a 36.6, just a half second slower than that. So De Granada picking up the pace here in the middle of the race. Coming up to his second pit stop on a different pit strategy than literally everyone else. 13 cars still going here, with coming up on 18 minutes down and 12 minutes left to go. De Granada through traffic. Running straight into a slower car that had spun out after the poker table. That's going to cost him a little bit. That lap a 39.167. Eclipse last lap was a 36 flat, this time by a 37.8. So Eclipse making up about a second and a half. The lead now 13.1 seconds with 11:30 left to go. Following along with the all green of Dante de Granada with the white wheels and wing. An AKA instant replay here of last lap as De Granada over the hip turn. You see the slower car ahead of him. It biked up on 2 wheels, and that wasn't the problem. The problem was the car spun out on the inside right in the racing lane. And luckily De Granada able to get himself back on the straightaway with no issue. And perhaps more importantly, didn't miss the timing loop. De Granada tumbling down the live time back patio. So a couple of mistakes here in the last couple of laps. See how much Nickzat is able to close the gap. And De Granada should be coming in the next lap or two at the 19:15 mark. So he's been out for 9.5 minutes, going one more lap. So this will put him at least 10 minutes when he comes by again. Be right around 10:10 or so on this tank of fuel. And could put him, well, depending on where his fuel mileage is, maybe in danger of running out on the last lap. We'll have to see. 14.1 second lead for De Granada last time by the line. Over the hip turn to the poker table, and here he comes in for his second pit stop right at the 10-minute left to go mark. Up on the blocks. See Beans picking it up with one hand and back out on the track with one hand. Nickzat just coming by the timing stripe. And so a 10.4 second gap on Nickzat for De Granada at the finish line. He does retain the lead by getting back out there. And Nickzat will have to pit one time remaining. So with 9:30 left to go, Dante de Granada leading the way. Emmanuel Nickzat running second, Cody Walker third, Christopher Kelly Jr. fourth, David Talley fifth, Rick Christian sixth. Oh, Dante de Granada with a mistake. And had to make his way, single his way over the the cash out double, and actually eclipsed Nickzat, able to take over the lead by 4.7 seconds there. So we've got a race for the win after all. Nickzat will have to pit one more time. The running order is Nickzat leading the way, Dante de Granada second, Walker third, Kelly Jr. fourth, Talley fifth, Christian sixth, Moreno Jr. seventh, Tambunting eighth, Walsh ninth, and Smith rounds out the top 10. Then Garwood, Mojanovski, Morrow, Haeflinger, and Sides, the complete order. So here is Emmanuel Nickzat. Goes by Eclipse from the Pacific Northwest, now living in Southern California. Tiptoeing through all four inside jumps of that Greedy Fingers section. Coming up on slower traffic through the fishhook over the cash out double. Down the front straightaway, Nickzat's last lap a 36.8. Granada's last lap was a 36.5 and a 39.8 this time by. So Nickzat's lead grows to nearly 7 seconds with 7:30 left to go. And if they stay at this gap right here, De Granada will just make it by to take the lead when Nickzat pits for his final time, but he can't afford to lose much more ground to the E-clip. A lot of modern RC racers wouldn't even know what an E-clip is. Captured hinge pins and all. Final round of pit stops cycling through here with 7:20 left to go. Tambunting and Walsh both into pit lane, 8th and 9th. Brad Smith in 10th into pit lane. Expecting Nickzat to come in as he had to single his way out of the AKA double down. Less than 7 minutes on the clock. Following along with Emmanuel Nickzat. He comes in for his final pit stop. Let's see if he gets into pit lane clean. Nice and easy over the speed bumps. Punching it up on the grate. Full tank of fuel and out. And not sure if De Granada made it by. 7.1 second stop, so Nickzat's final stop was a half second faster than that of De Granada. Dante de Granada just taking over the lead. It was a 5.6 second gap last time by the line. And Nickzat had a 7.1 second pit stop. So de Granada taking over the lead with 6 minutes left to go. And the lead over Nickzat, 2.6 seconds with less than 6 minutes remaining. The third round of pit stops pretty much all over. Only Woody Garwood down the 11th position hasn't yet stopped. So here's De Granada getting through some slower traffic, trying to maintain what was a 2.6 second lead, but it looks like Nickzat has closed the gap considerably. Across the dance floor, and it looks like these two may tango before the race is over. De Granada with a 37.5. Nickzat with a 36.3. The gap is less than a second and a half. A battle for the win here in Sportsman Buggy. De Granada trying to sweep the Sportsman classes. Nickzat trying to take his first title of the Silver State.
So blue and white right behind him in the Wolf running second. And Dante went full trucking.
Here's De Granada over the team associated stepping stone through the fish hook
To go.
into the cash out double. Nickzat over the cash out double. De Granada out of shape through the back right corner. Oh, and crashing before the poker table. There's no one close. Turbo running to grab him, but Nickzat goes by for the lead. And a 3.1 second lead for Nickzat over De Granada with 4:40 left to go. A big mistake for Dante de Granada, and now Nickzat in the driver's seat. And an AKA instant replay of what might have been the moment of the race here. De Granada catching the pipe, going up the face of the poker table jump. And Turbo having to come from a different zip code, as Ronnie Ripken sure wasn't going to get there.
So the battle for the lead coming onto the straightaway. They got one.
And Nickzat's lead was 3.1 seconds to the line last time by 1.9 now. De Granada chipping off 1.3 seconds from the lead this time. Manuel Nickzat up at the top of the live time back patio, coming up a little short, jumping down the stairs to the AKA double down section. Less than 4 minutes remaining for the battle out front for the win. Nickzat and De Granada. Nickzat up on the pipe, exiting the fish hook section, but able to get back going again without a turn marshal. Over the hip turn, this is where he took the lead last lap. 36.4, good lap for Nickzat. 37.3 for De Granada, losing a couple, actually nearly a full second again, so it's almost 2.8 seconds. Nickzat taking it easy over the AKA double downs. Bouncing through the hidden, the greedy fingers. Whoa, tank slapping hard through the lane change. Around the fish hook to the cash out double. Way wide, almost out of the park in the back right corner. Last lap for Nickzat was a 36.4, this time by 37.4. De Granada 36.9, chipped off a half a second. The lead now 2.2 with 2:45 remaining. Nickzat going around the outside of a crashed car before the AKA double down. Around the lane change section to the team associated stepping stone. Wide again out to the cushion. Looks like De Granada may have lost a little bit of time. It was Nickzat to the poker table and down the straightaway. 36.4, a second faster than his previous lap. And a 37.9 for De Granada, losing a second and a half. The lead now 3.7 with just 2 minutes left to go. So Nickzat in control here. Not within striking distance of Dante de Granada. Cody Walker from fourth on the grid. So second, third, and fourth qualifiers running in order in first, second, and third, as Dan Haeflinger was off the track after just 8 laps. He clipped Nickzat 36.7. Let's see if Dante de Granada, looks like De Granada with another long lap. A really long lap. 45.4 for De Granada. May have, no, he didn't short pit. So a big mistake there for De Granada. The lead now for Nickzat, 12.4 seconds. And frankly, the last minute and 15 here are just a formality. Nickzat could roll around the track with no mistakes and win this by a long way. So here comes Nickzat to start lap number 46 of 47. And at this point, it's going to be tough to see. De Granada may not even make it by for that final lap. Nope, still on a 47 lap run as well. So Nickzat won't get a victory lap. It's like one car flaming out, getting carried off the track. Nickzat with 1 lap left to go when he crosses the line this next time. Crashing in the back right corner, but lands on his wheels. Down the front straightaway. 1 lap left to go, 25 seconds left. This will be his final trip around the RC tracks of Las Vegas course. Less than a lap away from the Sportsman Buggy A main title. Dante de Granada going to come up one spot short of a Sportsman class sweep. Nickzat around the fish hook as the master clock expires. 3 turns left, singling over the cash out double. Over the hip turn, the poker table, and an E-clip. Nickzat, Emmanuel Nickzat taking the win in Sportsman Buggy. A wonderful race for him. Dante de Granada going to finish second and Cody Walker third, so I'm going to run down and catch up with the top 3.
Couple more to finish. Two more. Waiting on one more, Marshall. One more. Just waiting on Ace and Steve. All right, so your top 5 to tech. E-clip, your winner, Dante, second. Cody Walker, third. Christopher Kelly Jr., fourth. And Ivan Moreno Jr. at top 5. So top 5 to tech, and I need the top 3 to the bottom of the stairs for an interview with LiveRC. E-clip, Dante, and Cody Walker to the bottom of the stairs for your interview. Top 5 to tech. It'll be E-clip, Dante, and Cody with top 3. Christopher Kelly Jr. 4th, Ivan Moreno Jr. 5th, Jason Tambunting 6th, Brad Smith 7th, Maurice Walsh 8th, Woody Garwood 9th, David Cali